Alright, what's going on, guys? Today we're gonna be changing the valve cover gaskets on the CL55. Now I know this there's just one here, but I did order both of them and I went ahead and did the driver's side already. This box here, what I normally do just to kind of keep all the bolts where it came from in their place and back where they go, I just kind of draw this little thing. I mean, you guys can just, remember. I kind of like found out that I lose track of things, so I do this. It's a lot easier for me. Some tape. These are for the coil packs, and I'll show you guys what to do with these. I just mark them where they go. Just put, P for passenger side, D for driver side. Tools you're gonna need, definitely a T30 Torx and an E10, which is the Torx 10. These are for the bolts for the valve covers. Marker, just to mark some of the things and to write on the tape. This thing I picked up, I think they were about $20 for the pair, or $25 from Rock Auto. And these are the Victor Rhines, I think. I know they say mall on it, but they're actually, let's see if I can find the name. It's Victor Rhines, yeah. So, this company makes a bunch of the Mercedes aftermarket stuff, off-brand, I guess you could say. So let me show you guys what I did with the other side. Now, whoever did the driver's side on this, and I'm expecting some on the passenger side as well, what they did was they lost a couple of the bolts of those bottom ones, and they actually had a couple of like just bolts that just fit on there, and they were actually shorter. They put those on there, and that might have been a reason why it was leaking a little bit. But I already did this side, and I did use a little bit of RTV on the bottom side and very thin layer on the top side when I installed the new gasket, just for extra, I guess, protection from the leaks or anything. And this is how I marked my coil packs. Pretty easy. I mean, just keep things in order. And for this side, if you take off this gasoline line, it makes the job a lot easier. This thing will come off a lot easier and faster. So I recommend taking this off. Is just a 27 millimeter wrench there. And for the coil packs, the wires, all you need is a open-end 27 millimeter wrench, and just put them in there, pop them open, or just pop them out. Pretty easy. And you got some E-Torx there, or the Torx there, and then the E10 there. I will not be doing the breather covers. I'm going to keep those on when I clean this thing, but I am going to clean the rest of it. As you guys can see, this is the passenger side that I haven't done. I'm going to do. So the breather covers, if you guys saw my other videos, I have done both sides already. I thought they were leaking, and this side was leaking a little bit, so this has already been sealed, so I'm not going to go through that. But yeah, as you guys can see, since I was missing a couple of bolts from that side, or they were the wrong bolts, I took off a couple of bolts from this side to finish that job, and I have some bolts coming in already in mail, so just waiting for those. Thought I should start, with removing some of the other stuff with this. So let's go ahead and start removing those coil packs and the wires and everything, and get this thing prepped up, I guess. So coil packs came out, wires came out pretty easy with that 17mm wrench. Here's all the bolts, and you guys saw this one is definitely not from the Mercedes one, and it's actually shorter than the regular ones. I guess the person who did this was too lazy to just order a couple of these that he was missing, or one at least. So hopefully that leak will be taken care of by torquing these things, because these were, the bottom ones were pretty tight, the top ones were kind of loose. This one, I pretty much, I mean, I didn't even have to, you know, put that much force onto it. I just turned it with my fingers and it was pretty loose. So here's that valve cover, pretty dirty. I'm going to go ahead and give it a wash, real good wash. Not try to touch this thing, the breather cover. I had already done that. And here's that gasket that came out of this. It is still pretty flexible, not dried out or anything. I saw a couple of places that were kind of had cracks, but less RTV used on this side than the driver's side. But we're going to go ahead and give it, you know, pretty good wash. I'm going to use probably just some soapy water, nothing else, nothing like Purple Power or anything. I think that should take care of it. And inside, give it a clean up too. But I have to be very careful cleaning these grooves. This groove, I mean, that's where the gasket sits, and we really need to be clean. And then the surface needs to get cleaned up as well. And I'll show you guys after it's all cleaned up. Throw this thing away, and we'll go from there. All right, so I got this thing cleaned up. As you guys can see, I didn't do that great of a job, but I mean, I got it done. Whatever, it was cleaner than before. And the gasket, I already put it on. I mean, I just kind of went there and it goes into that groove there. Just want to fit it in there, make sure that it is the right gasket. And one thing that I got in mail, Auto House AZ came through with these bolts. So I ordered 6 of these, and for a great price of 67 cents each one of these. Can't beat that price. And a little bit of this caulking here, or the gasket maker I should say. So we're gonna need, I think, 3 of these, and the rest I'll keep for maybe later jobs, because I probably have to go and to the other side and, you know, change a couple of the old ones. So even though it's not recommended to put any of this before you put the gasket, I'm gonna go ahead and try it. I put Permatex on the other side, on the driver's side, but the passenger side, I'm gonna use a little bit of this, a very thin, probably 1/16 maybe layer of this thing, and I'll put the gasket. And then how you guys can see that groove there, I'm gonna go ahead and put a really thin layer there too, because I did notice that this corner right here, so this thing will sit just like so right here. This, they actually put a 10mm bolt, which was way too short for it. So I think that's where one of the leaks were, a tiny leak. And as soon as I hit the gas, it would have expanded and more oil will come out. And I did see a puddle of oil, and hopefully I can put a shot of that in there for you guys, and you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's very, very deep in there. I had to get my little camera in there and get a little shot, so I'll put that in there. So now that we have the bolts that will go in there perfectly, we can actually torque these or get them nice and tight. But I do want to go ahead one step and put some of this gasket maker on there too on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing prepped, and then we're going to go ahead and clean out the surface there, and we'll go ahead and reinstall this thing back. cleaned up the surface, nice and shiny, and all the excess oil got off. It needs to be really clean. And now, and I did put another very light, about 1/16, I'm gonna say 1/16, I don't know what the hell the measurement is, but of the RTV on there. So let's go ahead and put this thing on. Be very careful because there's a few things in the way. You want it to Alright guys, so you guys saw me doing the valve covers. I did the gasket, I got everything done, fresh oil and everything, and this popped up, which is a code P0507. That's the code that popped up. And that one, doing the research, what I noticed, a lot of people said that every time you do a valve change, or a valve gasket change I should say, this hose right there where it's supposed to go in there, I don't know if you guys can see it, that pops out, and when you follow it, it's this thing right here that when you undo it, pull it away, that thing pops out, and then when you push it back in, you forget to put back the thing back in its place. So that is the issue for that code. So to get this thing done easier, because it's a pain in the butt getting it in without removing this side, so as you guys can see, I removed this side of the I guess the surge air intake for the supercharger, I think that's what it's called. You have to undo this hose which goes to the bottom of that, and take all those bolts off, and then undo this, pop the hose out. It's a metal hose, a real skinny one, this one right here, and then you can pop it back in, put this thing back on, and then the cover back goes on. So that should take care of that problem. Just wanted to clear this out and just put it in this video. All right, so hose is back in, this one right here, this metal one, and it has a rubber grommet, so you want to make sure to push that in. I just use some needle nose pliers to put it nice and snug in there, and now the bolt goes back on right there to hold it in place, and then we're going to put the cover back on. So that's how easy that was.